the black caped one, the one winged angel. And no, I don't mean Kenny Omega. I mean this one. And when I say that Sephiroth is one of the most notable names in the Square Enix history, it's one of the most notable names in Square Enix history. And today we're going to give you a little rundown, little short version of the history. Some points will be made clearly, some will not. That's just Final Fantasy. I'm going to be telling you that. But you're gonna get most of the information you need. But with that being said,
you three, who are you?
Sephiroth was born to be a part of the Genova Project, and the Genova Project is basically Shinra wanted to recreate a fallen angel named Genova, and it crashed down to the earth. The people gathered around it. This incident happened. I'm not gonna lie, that incident I didn't really look into. There's so much about this game, about this series that's crazy. And if you want to know more, let me know. I will do it. I promise you I will. It's gonna be good. I promise that. I can swear through it. I promise you. So then there was a professor named Professor Hojo, and who he is essentially is one of the lead scientists on the Genova Project. He had a underling or a assistant basically named Lucretia Crescent? I'm gonna butcher these names. Some of them, yeah, you just gonna have to hold that. I don't know. You just gonna have to hold that. That was his mother, and his father was Hojo. When he was in the embryonic stage, he was injected with Genova cells. Well, then at birth made him, kind of a test subject. And I don't really know how that would work in terms of being IRL. I just don't know how that would work in those terms, but hey, it worked in the game. It may not work in real life. It is what it is. Professor Hojo subjected Sephiroth to physical, mental abuse to harden his heart, to make sure he is the #1 top soldier of Shinra. And by soldier, it's a soldier with all caps. Don't know how that happens. It happens. It's weird. I don't like it, me personally. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit. Timeline down wise, Sephiroth's older. Everybody knows who Sephiroth is. He is essentially the poster boy of Shinra. He is all what a soldier needs to be. He's that guy. He's him. So this is how Cloud, Zack found out about Shinra and joined Shinra through that. That's where Cloud comes in. Keep that in mind. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit more. There are 3 first-class soldiers: Genesis, Angeal, Sephiroth. One day they snuck into a VR training facility, which to me is crazy that they have VR in their time period and we are just now getting VR, and we're not even to that point where we can have like battles and shit like in VR, which is crazy to me. But they snuck into there. Sephiroth and Genesis fought each other, and Genesis ended up getting severely wounded, which needed him to have a blood transfusion, and Sephiroth stepped up to give him some of his blood because he was the one who hurt him. That was his bad, his fault. Didn't, you know what I'm saying? It was his fault. He was gonna help the nigga, you know what I mean? Professor Hollander told Professor Hollander, why did I say it like that? Said that his blood wouldn't work. So Angeal was the second best option to have his blood work, and it did. Keep that in mind. Now we're going to fast forward a little bit more. Since Genesis and Angeal both went missing, Shinra declared them as defected Shinra agents, which then in turn Sephiroth and Zack then had to hunt down. Zack couldn't believe that his mentor Angeal would turn traitor like that, and Sephiroth couldn't believe that Angeal and Genesis would both turn traitor like that. So they both went looking for them, and that is where we made the biggest mistake. Whilst Sephiroth and Zack were looking for Genesis, they stumbled onto some of Professor Hojo's old test experiments for the Genova Project, which led Sephiroth to believe there was something wrong with him that he didn't turn out like the experimental soldiers. Yes, most of the soldiers that get hit with the Mako make them Mako sickly. They die was about to say Doi. What the hell? They die from Mako poisoning. But these were mutated creatures, which happened due to the Genova Project. Because see, with the Genova Project, if you get hit with the Genova cells, if you're not a match for them like Sephiroth, or you're not lucky enough to be like Sephiroth, then you will definitely start to decay. And that is what happened to Genesis and Injil. They both were hit with the Genova cells, which made them start to decay. That incident that happened in the VR training is what triggered Genesis's decaying. How that works out, kind of don't know. It's weird. They don't really explain it in the English version that well. If you go through Crisis Core, yeah, but if you're playing base Final Fantasy VII, like the remake, then you definitely won't find that information. So Sephiroth found some of Professor Hojo's old notes, and this is where the biggest mistake could have happened. He read and read and read and did some more reading and found out that he was, yes, a Genova cell project. He was essentially made from Genova cells. He found that out and was like, damn, I'm really cooked. I'm really cooked. Genesis then appeared and told Sephiroth that he was a Genova experiment, which confirmed his suspicion. But it wasn't actually Genesis. It was a clone of Genesis made from Genova. And let me tell you, for everybody that's saying there's multiple Sephiroth clones going on, I saw like the Reddit question. No, it's all Genova cells created to be a Sephiroth clone, just like how Genesis was. That confirmed to Sephiroth that he had his memories, like that he's confirmed to be a Genova experiment. So after reading, he essentially lost his mind. He spent days, hours, nights reading that. And like me personally, I would probably do the same. If you're not subscribed to the channel by now, I feel like I'm giving you the right amount of energy. I'm giving you your knowledge. I'm giving you your energy. We're about to play this game, man. Hit the subscribe button, at least follow, like the video, comment some questions. I don't know, maybe. Or I might just end up doing what Sephiroth did to Nibelheim. And what did Sephiroth do to Nibelheim, you might ask? He essentially burned down Nibelheim, killing Claudius Strife, Xander, and Brian Lockhart. And if those names sound familiar whatsoever, our main characters, Cloud Strife. Claudius Strife is Cloud's mother. He killed Cloud's mother in front of him. And that's the connection that they share to why Cloud hates Sephiroth, or why Sephiroth hates Cloud. It's those two things, right? And before you ask, no, Cloud does not have any Genova cells. He's just a Mako soldier, bro. He survived the Mako transaction, and made him a, soldier. Brian Lockhart is Tifa's father, who, if you remember the game, if you remember in Final Fantasy VII Remake, there were some cutscenes that was in Cloud's mind that Tifa was like hunched over a dude. That was Brian Lockhart, Tifa's father. So with that being said, Tifa got upset and tried to smite Sephiroth, which didn't work. Sephiroth, being the G he is, top guy, you know what I'm saying, biggest Andrew Tate supporter out, picked his hand up, backhand her, almost gave her CTE. And I was like, damn, man, CTE? Like, reading this? Really? Trying to give her CTE? Why? What are we doing? What are we doing? So then Zach tried to, have a little skedaddle with my dude Sephiroth. Didn't work out, man. Zach just couldn't hold his own. And then whilst after Zach's little skedaddle with Sephiroth then brushed him off and turned to Genova. He actually found Genova itself. I don't want to give it any pronouns. Itself. And Then he felt something he has not felt in a long time. His blood. And why do you say he felt his blood, Mizu? Well, Cloud took Zack's Buster Sword, picked it up, stabbed him straight through the spinal cord. And he's like, bro, I've not felt this in a long time. This is new. And stabbed him straight through the spinal cord. Whilst that happened, there was a little bit of another scuffle that happened. And then Cloud pushed Sephiroth into the life stream, ending Sephiroth's life. Kinda. It gets a little choppy towards that part. But yeah, I believe I did a pretty good job for this first video. But yeah, with that being said, be easy, breezy, beautiful, like CoverGirl. Remember, whatever happens, happens. And remember, Cloud is a good guy. He's not that good, but he's a good guy. Sephiroth, we're gonna play as him. We're gonna see if he's a good guy. All right, I'm gonna